let's talk about crypto.
Damn.
What do we think about Bitcoin's crash? Is this something, what does this have most to do with? China?
My take is everything that you just said in the intro, teeing up China and climate and all these things are noise.
Okay. What's the signal?
Watch the tape. This is the as the paradigm folks sort of coined this term, bubbles as a go-to-market. Every time that Bitcoin will always have a run up, it will always have a crash down, and so far it has been very effective at using that run up to bring more people into the ecosystem. It doesn't crash down below the level that it was at before the run up. It is, the crypto community, whether intentionally or not, is very effective at using hype to increase the surface area of the ecosystem. It is unpredictable to me what the future sort of bubble bursts, what will cause those, what really caused this one, what caused previous ones. All we know is I think this will keep happening.
And David?
Yeah, I think I mostly agree with Ben. I think, though, one thing that is I should have been thinking about before this was kind of in the back of my mind, but this particular cycle has brought my mind to is the benefit of Bitcoin versus everything else in crypto is it doesn't change, right? But it also doesn't change, and so much is changing in the world, and it has got me thinking
what do you mean
about
it doesn't change?
Well, it's locked. Like there's
a finite number of them.
Oh, sorry,
use case,
more than that. Just like the whole ecosystem. Like Satoshi's gone. Like there is no development. There's no changing. There's no innovation in Bitcoin. It is what it is, and that's attractive. Like the rules aren't going to change. But Ethereum and all the other protocols out there and everything happening in DeFi, like there is so much innovation happening so fast in crypto that I do wonder if that is actually a better part of the ecosystem to be in relatively versus Bitcoin.
I have to agree with you there. I've always said, I think if Bitcoin does get replaced as the most attractive crypto, it would be because the other cryptos have a much better use case. People become more engaged with the better use case. And like gold bullion or silver certificates or whatever came before it, you just have more energy in Ethereum. You have more energy in some Dogecoin. There's more going on, and it's more excitement, and people just sort of lean towards what's more excitement.
Are you seeing this? Like, I'm definitely seeing all the, especially like younger Gen Z, not Gen X like me, folks, ambitious founders, people who want to go work at companies. They are all going into crypto, DeFi. That is number one destination right now.
I think I don't think it's the number one destination. I think there's a lot of energy there, and you may have this like first generation of believers who were kind of in the, let's call them anarchists / societal outcasts, people who were libertarians, maybe
reaction
didn't
against
like
the financial crisis.
Yeah, fight against the machine, kind of Wall Street, Occupy Wall Street folks. I think they are giving way to a generation of finance-savvy millennials and Gen Zers who I would describe more as the Robinhood crypto, like the Robinhood Coinbase generation, that they're so sophisticated about this stuff that they're doing puts and calls and leveraging themselves up. I mean, 100 times leverage on your Bitcoin. I think a lot of what happened this time around for this dip has to do with leverage. And I don't know if we can statistically prove that because everything is so opaque, even though it's supposed to not be opaque.
Yeah, I think that's why you saw the whole crypto asset class get whacked, because people are getting margin calls. And
yes,
like, whatever set this off, I think was probably, you're right.
Either of you ever
Bitcoin.
come close to a margin call? Either of you ever have margin as a significant portion of your life?
Number one, I will never use margin.
See, this is the thing. Like, I can't even, I have a margin line, I suppose, at one of my brokerages that I don't tap. Actually, I have it at two of my brokerages now that I think about it. I don't really tap it, but it's there, I guess. But I would never want to live like that. Who wants to live like that?
I have enough other things causing me stress in my life that doesn't feel worth it to me.
Yeah. So, I mean, but just think about it. What if when we were 22 years old, we had leverage on our $10,000 worth of savings, pushing us to put $50,000 into markets? Like, there's a lot of young people who are living with that. Now, even if they have the risk of ruin, what's the risk of ruin? 10K, and maybe they go into debt for 10K. I don't know. Like, is it the end of the world?
There was the Robin Hood suicide tragedy. I
would be careful.
This.
Well, I would be careful attributing putting that specific case aside. Anytime you have over 1 million people using a service, you will have suicides occur. So it might be not a Robin Hood suicide. It could be a suicide that occurred where, trading might have been involved in a person's decision. But, a healthy, normal person is not going to kill themselves over using cryptocurrency or whatever. They might have the grounding for it. I think it's really hard with that attribution theory. But anyways.
One interesting thing that I've been ruminating on in crypto, and it's interesting as we start to talk about margin being available. Like, Jason, as you know, David and I have spent the last month and a half, like hundreds of hours deep in Berkshire Hathaway research.
Yeah.
And while I have become increasingly excited about the future of crypto, in particular DeFi, it is this crazy mental thrashing to go back and forth between being a relative crypto bull and saying, like, bubbles as a go-to-market strategy, we'll continue to see this over and over again. It kind of keeps going up. And also having Warren Buffett in the back of my head, and of course Charlie saying, these things have no intrinsic value. What do you mean buy the dip? The dip should only exist relative to some intrinsic value of something, and the only intrinsic value of especially Bitcoin, but you could argue all cryptocurrencies, is what you believe that other people will believe that it should be in the future. It doesn't have a set of underlying profits. It doesn't have a set of underlying cash flows. I think Ethereum and DeFi is different because it is truly a distributed computer. You can sort of build interesting applications on top of it. But the wild thrashing that has been happening, at least for me, David, I don't know if you feel the same way, of buy the dip versus no intrinsic value, is like a total war in my head.